Hey, everybody. Appreciate you joining in for this great webinar where we're going to be covering the $1,000,000 formula on how to grow your junk removal business. I'm Lee Godbold, founder of Junk Removal Authority. We've got Dan, who is the chief product and co-founder of Workies on this. And this webinar is part of a couple webinars we're going to be releasing prior to JunkCon 2022. You can check out JunkCon presented by Workies at junkcon.com. And we do have a sale going on, actually $200 off tickets. It's been extended through, it's going to be until 9 p.m. this evening. So if you go through this webinar, if you haven't signed up for JunkCon yet, it's going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina, October 12th through 14th. You got the dates right this time, which is good. And you just need to go to junkcon.com, and there is a sale where you can go ahead and purchase those tickets at a discounted rate. So glad you guys could be on here. Again, I'm Lee Godbold, founder of Junk Removal Authority. We've got Dan from Workies. And Dan, if you want to, just tell us a little bit about, about what Workies is and your affiliation with Junk Removal and JunkCon.
Definitely. So Workies is a platform for managing service businesses. We ourselves started from the field service business. We had a very successful locksmith company here in Southern California, and we actually developed it for us. Somewhere along the line, we got some venture capital interested, and we really started to kind of explode the business. So around the early years, we met up with Lee, and apparently our software is a shoo-in for junk removal businesses. And the relationship just grew from there. We got more and more attraction in that field. And are adding more and more tools based on the feedback that junk removal businesses are showing us. And we're very happy to be a part of their journey to success.
Awesome. It's been a great partnership that we've had over the past 5 or 6 years. And then at Junk Removal Authority, we are a consulting, marketing agency and support company for the junk removal industry. So we consider ourselves kind of the franchise alternative. You can come to us and you get franchise level support without the required high fees, the long-term commitments, a lot of the downside. We've worked with over 300 junk removal business owners throughout the U.S., a couple in Canada, but mostly in the United States. A lot of these companies, when they first get up and going, we're seeing growth rates when they're kind of following our kind of prescribed formula of 50 to 100% year over year. Is oftentimes what we're seeing throughout the country. Even this year, this year they talk about being in a recession. People are still seeing pretty solid growth rates year over year.
Definitely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, Dan, what were you going to say?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say, we've still seen these numbers. It's quite amazing about the entire field service industry, specifically junk removal. And they keep calling it recession-proof, but it is. We've seen in the last 2 years with all the struggle, with COVID and inflation, recession. We still see those businesses, and they know how to grow, and they're again, essential services. It is what it is.
Yeah, on junk removal specifically, I never like calling it recession proof, but I will say it's recession resistant. Because what happens when you get a recession, when foreclosures go up, so you start getting real estate owned properties where you go in there or bank owned properties and you remove the stuff inside of those properties. So foreclosures go up, evictions go up, and that's a level of business or a part of the business sector you haven't seen in the last few years because those numbers have been down that you get. I think you still normally do see a little bit of a downturn. We estimate in 2008, established junk removal companies, when the economy kind of tanked, took about a 20%, 25% hit. So there's definitely still a reduction in revenue in a very deep recession, which 2008 was terrible. But it's not like you're going out, if you're building homes in 2008, you went from doing really well to having absolutely nothing. So it is a recession resistant industry for sure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So Dan, let's talk a little bit about what's the difference between success and growth. That's the kind of, or scalability. So talk to us a little bit about what exactly is scalability. How would you define that?
Okay, so we see the scenario every day. A tradesperson does very well at their job. Okay, they got one truck, they got one person, they're doing one route, and that's okay. So that's them being able to run their business. But scalability is a whole different thing. So that means I am able to go now and replicate this formula. Okay, I'm able to handle 10x the amount of jobs, and I can generate the right revenue from it. Now, it's not just about going out and advertising more, or putting out billboards. It's about having that mental state and the tools to execute on it. So that means you are able to know how to manage 10 trucks now. You know how to take $50,000 and put them on the right advertising. You are able to analyze, okay, how this advertising is paying off. I mean, I know it paid off for me as a service owner, and we see the data every month. The businesses that know how to look at data and know to efficiently manage work, they scale. They know how to take that one small operation that they do and 10x it. And that's basically the difference we see between growing business and very successful businesses.
One of the largest challenges that I had, Dan, in growing the companies that I own, between Junk Doctors, the junk removal business, JRA, and then especially Truck Bodies, which builds junk removal trucks, is taking, when you first get started with a business, a brand new company, a lot of times you're relying on your emotion, your intuition, and your ability to just work and get out there and get things done. But then you get to a certain point when you're trying to grow that you don't ever want to completely lose that intuition at all, because it is what's gotten you to where you are. But you have to start really evaluating data and bringing in people that assist you in making wise decisions and much more measured decisions than when you first get started in business. When you first get started in business, a lot of times you don't have time to sit there and analyze and analyze and analyze. You don't have the bandwidth to do it because you have a million other things you're doing. You just have to have to trust your gut a lot of times and see what works out. As you grow any business, it's very important that you get people and you get advisors that come in and they help you take the time and they use their expertise to really evaluate so you can make wise decisions. Having the data in place, or actually having the underlying data to be able to make those decisions and having it be accurate, is very important. We're going to talk a little bit about how Workies helps scale and get that information here soon. So what are 5 ways to grow your junk removal business through scalability? Junk removal, it's a pretty simple. It's not like we have a lot of inventory we have to manage. Dan, you come from the locksmithing world where there's a lot of different tools you have to have, and different pieces of inventory and locks and all that kind of stuff that you actually have. Keys.
Yes, lots of different SKUs.
In junk removal, what's the main thing? You got to have some pretty. You have to have guys with 2 arms and 2 legs that have some pretty good strength. Now that is really dumbing it down, because you also need to have people that are good at interacting with clients. When you show up at their house, your truck team is your company. So it is the face of your business at that point. No matter how nice your website was, no matter how good the booking process was from the person that answered the phone, no matter any of that, once the truck team shows up on site, they're going to judge your company off of those 2 individuals that show up. So they got to be pretty clean cut. They have to know how to talk with clients. They've got to be respectful and professional. They have to be trustworthy. And if you nail that, then your reputation is going to build, the online reviews are going to build, your repeat business is going to build, and you're going to begin to scale this thing. So the very first thing to do is you've got to hire the right people and you have to train them. Now, even from day one, you do not want to go out and do these jobs all on your own. When I first started, I did that. And what would happen? You'd show up on site and you'd have to ask a customer to help load the truck and all that kind of stuff. And it's just completely unprofessional. It's also a bit more dangerous. I remember I did a particular job in Durham, North Carolina, which is right outside of Raleigh. It was, it happened to be for a guy. He wasn't the real one, but it happened to be the guy, a guy by the name of Michael Jordan. And at this particular house in Durham, there were these wooden kind of like picket fences that were real heavy though, and they had nails all in them, and they were kind of locked up. And I was loading a trailer, and one of those pieces kind of bound up, and it slammed down my leg, and it gave me a gash. It's about 6 inches long, so I have this nice, looks like somebody slashed me with a knife on my leg. I got this big old scar. And that was the final job that I said, you know what, from here on out, I'm not going to do jobs on my own. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm charging what we need to charge so we can have good help. So you got to get out there. You got to find great people. The first thing we look at is personality. Do they have a great personality? And the second thing is, do they have the strength to actually do it? Following that, you've got to put them through a training regimen. You want them to show up, and you want to take them through mainly around customer service. How do you talk to customers? How do you present yourself to customers once you're on the job site? And you want to go through and you want to role play different conversations you might have with the customer. And that's something we do quite often. What that allows us to do is make sure that we put forward a professional image. What it also allows us to do is it is training that truck team member to be able to sell. And that is directly going to increase your average job sale, which is directly going to increase your top line revenue as well as your profit. So you've got to get the right people. The next thing, you got to gear up with tools, trucks, and uniforms. It's mainly just trucks and uniforms. There's some basic tools you're going to find in Junk Remover. You're going to get a lot of the tools you use just on the job. Trucks, one of the things you guys can kind of jot this down. One truck can do about $350,000 a year in revenue. You can actually technically do more than that if you could run it at capacity 12 months out of the year, but you're going to have ups and downs and downtime on your vehicle. So figure about 350 or so now. You want to be able to advertise on all available platforms. You want to be able to collect positive reviews, and you want to be able to modify the pricing strategy as you go. Very important, especially in today's climate where costs are going up all the time. So we mentioned these things about managing people effectively. Dan, can you talk a little bit about how can a system such as Workies, a CRM, a dispatch software, how can it actually be used to help manage people effectively?
Definitely. So I can go through some points here, but before anything, the number one word here is efficiency. Okay, you're running, a business which is more than yourself now, as you mentioned. You're having employees, you have equipment out there, you have advertising. Efficiency is key. You have good efficiency, you're going to run a successful business. So speaking to junk removal specifically, dispatching and speed to lead, we like to call it, is very important. Okay, so a person is interested in your services. Now, mind you that when somebody is calling what we call an on-demand service, so that means a junk removal, a locksmith, a tow truck, speed is of the essence. I mean, this person did not just get up this morning and say, you know what, I'm going to renovate my garage. No, there's stuff in it. I got to get rid of it. So the first person that's going to call them back, follow up, and is going to be polite and have good communication about it is the person that's going to get the money. And it's more than that. The profitability, and we have the data around this, the profitability of jobs that you reply to very quickly are on average higher than jobs that you follow up after 2 days, because this person just sent a booking request on your website. He just sent you an email. He just texted you. Okay, you're replying right away. Yeah, you know what? We have somebody in the neighborhood today at 4, or how about tomorrow morning? Let's do it. Once you do that quick response, the price is not an issue anymore. Okay, people are like that. They want to get instant gratification. We see that in our app, we see that in the UI, and it's in the real world when they want to obtain services. Second thing, sorry, go ahead.
Dan, one thing I just want to add on to that point, because that's an excellent point. The people that are left a day, if you're waiting a day to call somebody back, or even a couple hours to call somebody back, if somebody fields that call and they're going to entertain you coming out on site, that person's a price shopper. The guys the customers, your best customers that don't care as much about price, they've booked, they've checked it off their list. If you're waiting a day or a couple hours, there's a chance that there's another junk removal company that's already shown up and done the job by the time you call it back.
Yeah, definitely. And this is exactly what we had in mind when we built the Workies automations last year. We said, how can we get those answered even quicker? So we built an automation engine that says, okay, if I miss a call, send that person a text message right away that says, hey, sorry we missed your call. Here's a link to book our services. And we've seen tremendous results because, again, certain verticals, junk removal, tow trucks and such, it's super critical to reply to the customer right away.
Dan, on that automation, when you guys send that exact message, do any of your customers ever put a a discount. Hey, sorry we missed your call. Because we missed your call, if you'd like to, you can go to this link and book online, and because we missed it, we'll give you 10% off or $50 off your job or anything. Does anybody ever do anything like that?
That's a good suggestion. I actually, I haven't seen that. I know texting right away and texting, not emailing, is super important.
Yep.
Which, moving to the next piece, knowing where your employees are at every time. Okay, so that means having a visibility on a schedule. So obviously, each one of us can manage a business supposedly on a spreadsheet or a Google Calendar. But when you get a software that is dedicated to that, that means you see the jobs, highlighted colors, what are the routes, where everybody is, GPS location of where they are. This is tremendous. Okay, it allows you to be efficient. Workies specifically allows you to geofence by service areas. Okay, so meaning we'll tell you what's your capacity in a given area. Okay, you just put in the zip code, and Workies will tell you, okay, so Dan, Joe, and Alex actually are available to do this. This is super important. Again, with gas prices being what they are today, you have to optimize. This really affects your bottom line. It also affects, as far as in my experience, employee frustration. Okay, if you're calling a guy and telling him, well, I got another job for you once you're done with this one. Yeah, it's 50 miles away. They get frustrated. Okay, they get frustrated, and I've seen this firsthand with employees in the locksmith. Another very important point that I see a lot of business owners missing out on is knowing who your top and bottom performers are. Okay, so it's easy to assume that, okay, it's junk removal, I'm just sending people out, the price is the price. Not true. Every business that I've seen with Workies and from friends and family, there's always that dispatcher, there is always that field tech that their jobs close on average for more. What does that person do? I don't know. He gets up with a positive mental attitude. He looks around the house and he says, well, you got a bunch of trash in your backyard and I'm already here. I can save you a few bucks. He upsells. He offers complimentary service. He asks the customer at the end, hey, how was everything? I mean, was everything to your satisfaction? Okay, so, if you feel I was okay, please leave us a review. There's always those people that bring more value to your business. You have to embrace those people. Also on dispatchers, this is also something people miss out. Some dispatchers you're going to see are always closing more jobs. Follow up on that. See how they answer the phone. See if you can replicate that and recommend that approach to the other dispatches that you have. And this is something that happened to me personally with my 6 dispatchers that were working for me when I was a locksmith. And that's why we embedded call tracking right into Workies, because I want to know what works and I want to double down on that because I want to scale.
Very good. In junk removal, to add to a couple of those points, top and bottom performers, Dan hit the nail right on the head. Your average job sale, that's the one number that's so critical to growing your business. If your average job sale, let's say your average job sale is coming in at about 370. That's about, on average throughout the U.S., you should be seeing about $370 in at least 370 on your AJS. In areas like New York, San Francisco, some of the Boston, some of the areas where you have disposal fees that are over $100, $200, sometimes $300 a ton, you're going to be much higher. Your AJS could be up in the 5s at that point. But on average, throughout the U.S., you need to be seeing yourself at least about a 370 or so average. That 370 average, that's going to allow you to spend money on some of your more expensive but effective advertising methods like Google Ads. If that 370 turns into an average job sale of 280 or 290, you're going to lose money on your jobs. Your acquisition cost is going to be so high on Google Ads, you're not going to be able to play in that arena, and you're going to miss out on a large section of your potential clients that your competitors are going to get. This thing's about scalability. That's going to kill your scalabilities because your AJS is too low. The other number that oftentimes you can track, you'll want to track, is average time on job. If you sit there and you have 4 team leads and you look at 3 of these team leads are taking an average of 35 minutes on each job, and this 4th one is taking 50 minutes on each job, but the AJS is about the same, or maybe even the 4th is a little lower, then what's going on here? Do you have somebody that's just kind of goofing off, not moving quickly, Or do you have somebody that's maybe actually stealing? He's quoting the job at one price, and then he's actually collecting, he's getting paid in cash and he's pocketing the difference. So that's one of the main ways if somebody's going to directly steal from a junk removal company, they're going to do it by. You can help catch that by looking at AJS and average time on the job. Final thing I want to ask, Dan, in California, what are your average fuel prices right now at the pump?
Whoa, I haven't checked today because it changes every day, but around San Diego, we're looking at 680, 670.
And then your diesel's probably $8 a gallon, I would bet, close to it.
Yeah,
Up in the
that's
sevens
right
anyway.
about right. It's
So,
going crazy. Yeah.
yep. So $6-7 in California. It's upper fours in North Carolina, and then throughout the country, it's probably a lot kind of right in between that. And when you're talking $5 a gallon gas, efficiency in dispatching is huge. So what we've begun doing more than what we used to, the day prior to the day before, we're looking at. So let's say today is what's today, Wednesday. Our dispatch team probably about right now, about 3:30. They start looking at the schedule for tomorrow, and they look at the map through Workies. There's a map functionality where you can see where all your different jobs are and the different time slots. And they start trying to figure out, hey, are these routes jumping around a little? Can maybe we move some of these jobs to different time slots and be able to combine these jobs a bit better? And then they get on the phone and they start calling people up and asking, hey, is there any possibility you could go at this particular time? We generally aren't going to force somebody to do that, but 99% of the time, they are more than happy to move as long as you communicate with them. And by doing that, you can save, depending on what how much your top line business is doing, or how much top line sales you're doing on a monthly basis, you can save a couple $1,000s a month just by implementing that strategy to make your routes more efficient.
Mhm. Definitely, and you can also squeeze more stops. That's
Yep, another great point.
Yeah.
Another excellent point there. And the fewer trips to the landfill you make, the better. Especially, a lot of landfills or dispatch or transfer stations charge a minimum tonnage. So if you're showing up with a half load, you might only have 500 pounds or 1,000 pounds on your truck, and there's a 1 ton minimum. So you're essentially doubling or more than doubling your disposal fees, and that really can kill profitability. So again, guys, thank you for joining this webinar. We've got we're covering scaling your junk removal company through this evening. JunkCon, if you haven't got a ticket for JunkCon 2022 through 9 p.m. this evening, we have a $200 off ticket. JunkCon 2022 is presented by Workies and hosted by Junk Removal Authority in Raleigh, North Carolina, October 12th through 14th. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have 6 breakout classrooms. We've got main stage speakers. We've got keynote speakers. We've got guys that have been in the junk removal industry a long time, built 15, 20, 25 truck operations. One guy that's going to be speaking is going to be moving close to 30 trucks next year. So we've got a lot of big name guys. We've also got some business professionals. If you're interested in franchising your business, we've got franchise. We'll have a franchise attorney here. We've got truck companies here. So anything and everything to do with junk removal will be at JunkCon 2022. We'd love to see you there. 9 p.m. this evening is when the ticket sale ends. We will be taking some questions and answers here in just a bit. So if you guys have some questions, go ahead and queue them up, be ready for them. And Dan and I are going to get to them near the end of this presentation in just a bit. So always be job ready. We talked a little bit about the importance of same and next day jobs. Dan, you covered that just a little while ago. In the junk removal industry, again, if you book a job within 48 hours of the customer calling, that's 48 hours of when the customer calls, you're going to close that job over 90% of the time. If you wait beyond 48 hours, so if you go 3-4 days or even up to a week or 2 weeks, that is going to quickly fall off to 50%. So 50% of those jobs are going to cancel if you're waiting a week or more out. It's very important. As soon as that call comes in, get them on the schedule. Otherwise, they're going to decide they're going to keep the item. They're going to do it on their own. They call another company that can get it done sooner. Or a friend says, why the heck are you paying somebody? I'll come by, give me a 6-pack of beer and some pizza, and we'll do it on our own. So it's very important with junk removal. Get it done right now. That convenience people are willing to pay for. Service equipment regularly. This is very, very important. and it's easy to overlook because during the busy season, you're running ragged all the time. 12-hour days are extremely common. A lot of times people aren't taking the time to do those regular oil changes, to do the regular, if they have dump vehicles, dump trailers, or dump trucks, it's so important to be hitting those grease fittings and keeping everything lubed up. They're not cleaning their vehicles. And it's so important to be clean, have a clean vehicle because hopefully you have your signage on the side of it. And you want to show up every single day to every job in a clean uniform and a clean vehicle, as clean as possible. During the slow season, what happens is you're slow. You don't want to spend money or take time necessarily to work on equipment. This is the time to work on your equipment, is when you're slow. That's when you can break down and refurb bodies. So if you've been in open 5, 6, 7 years and you've got a body that the paint's a little faded on, or the graphics need to get redone, or you got a little rust or something, that's the time to take the vehicle down and work on it. Somebody told a story one time of, I'm going to not mention their official name, but the Big Blue company, the Big Blue guys in junk removal, the owners of the Toronto franchise, which is the largest junk removal company in the world, at least at the time of this occurred, was a lot of those guys take off busy. The owners a lot of times take off busy season, and they're really involved during the slow season because that's when they're making sure all the equipment is getting refurbed. Their guys are getting trained up. They're making new hires and they're building relationships out in the local community, and they're really kind of building their business up. So those guys are working harder in the off season, and they're going off on a 6-month-long vacation, basically. Not quite, but they're not working nearly as hard during the busy season. Always answering the phone. Again, 48 hours. You want to book those jobs within 48 hours. Dan hit the nail on the head earlier when he talked about if you're missing calls, if you're not responding immediately to leads that come in, one of your competitors is. So it's very, very important to make sure that you are answering the phone and answering it professionally as well. So let's talk about being present where it matters. Contact information. One, obviously, you need a great website. So you got to we hear questions all the time. Do I need a website? Seems like a very, very basic question. And the answer is very, very basic. Yes, you do. You need a website that presents yourself in a way that you want your company to be presented. So not only do you need to set up a website, but you need to think about your branding. In the junk removal space, more and more companies are joining in on it. You can't just put up a sign now that says we haul junk or something, Jay's hauling service or whatever. You need to come up with a catchy name. You need to come up with some uniform colors. You need to come up with a slogan, and you need to really work on creating a brand that is memorable. And that's the way you're really going to stand apart from your competition. Once you have that brand created, then you need to put it on your truck. You need to put it on your uniforms. You need to create door hanger flyers and sticky notes that you put on the back of mailboxes. Never put a sticky note on the front of a mailbox because you'll get in trouble with the post office. Stick it on the back of the mailbox. The postman will never see it, but the homeowner will. So we love our sticky notes. You need yard signs, all of it around a brand. We recently had a company open up in Memphis, Tennessee, guy by the name of Brad Scott. Brad created a company called Junk Busters. It is played off kind of the Ghostbusters name and the theme and all. It is super, super memorable. If you guys get a chance to pull it up, I think it's junkbustersms.com, but he's in Memphis, Tennessee, just opened up. His truck has got it's very easy to see the name of the company, his contact info, but then he's got kind of the gadgets of destruction from Ghostbusters on picking up ghost related things. And I think he talks about, there's something to do with kind of likening or comparing removing junk to running unwanted ghosts or spirits out of the house or something. So there's something really neat he's done. It's memorable. I think it's probably one of the most memorable brands that I've seen created recently around junk. And he has completely just bought all in on it. So, he's doing his waves out there. It's one big thing in junk removal. That was actually important for some of your big franchises. What they did is they'd line up in intersections and they'd sit there with the signs. You've seen the sign twirlers, but they just have big signs that have the truck, maybe the beds raised up, and they would just sit there and wave at traffic as they went by. And he could get like a big old ghost character and some junk and all, and just it sounds completely stupid, but it gets attention and it's memorable. He's got a great brand. So what is your brand? Figure out your brand. That's the first thing when you're starting your business, is get that brand right. If you've already started your company and you didn't spend that much time on branding, you can always think about how can you take your current name and make a great brand around it, or maybe you take your brand and maybe create a new brand potentially if you haven't been open that long. And it could be just as simple as you could be somebody that absolutely loves pets, and you could make it clear that every single junk removal job that you do, you're going to donate 5%, 10%, 2%, whatever of the revenue to the local animal shelter. And you're going to sponsor adoption days where you're going to cover adoption fees, and you're going to show up at the local SPCA, and you're going to have your vehicle, and you're going to have business cards and information in your company. As people walk in, you're going to sit there and donate. You're going to cover the fee for the adoption fee. When they bring out their little dog they just got, their little puppy, and they've got their 5-year-old daughter with them, who's she's just like smiling and got tears running down her eyes because of this puppy. You sit there and you take a picture with your truck in the background, and you talk about the event. That's awesome stuff to put out on your social media. So just find stuff you're passionate about, build your brand around that. Just think about it. You've got to be known now. You've got to be able to set yourself apart. No more Jay's hauling, no more, just basic stuff. You've got to be able to separate yourself. Make it easy for clients to stumble upon your ads. That's just a matter of being at the right places. Responding to incoming leads as fast as possible. We've talked about that. Local relationships and junk removal. It's realtors. It is professional organizers, property management companies, small remodelers. So big contractors aren't necessarily it. They're probably going to go with dumpsters. But if somebody's just renovating a kitchen or just renovating a bathroom, you need to be reaching out to these guys. And that could just be a matter of send them a message online, an email. There's, email campaigns are great to kind of get your foot in the door. And then just join local networking groups. If you have a Rotary Club, join it. Local Chamber of Commerce, participate in it. And you're going to be amazed at the introductions that can be made by old school pounding the pavement. And online bookings. One thing Workies does so well is online booking. And when we looked to switch to Workies about 6 years ago, we went from a company that offered online booking, but it was very, very bulky. It took a long time. They asked a bunch of extra questions, and it cut down on the number of online bookings. The great thing with Workies is how quickly the whole process is. It asks basic information. You select the time. It shoots the time off to the company. The company can confirm the time at any point, and then everything's good to go. You have all the information you need, and you can go out and do the job. 25% of bookings are online now, on average, for junk removal companies throughout the country. So it's very important that you have a system that efficiently takes online bookings. Dan, you got anything you want to add to any of this that maybe Workies can help with, or any other thoughts and something I might have?
Definitely. Online booking, we cannot stress that enough. I mean, if there's one thing I've seen throughout the last couple of years, especially with junk removal, I mean, it's true for carpet cleaners, it's true for a lot of people. If you're available for junk removal and you don't have a way to book online, you're definitely missing out on revenue, 100%. It is 2022, okay? The millennial crowd will do anything but give you a call. Okay, this is a fact. So that means the more ways that you're allowing them from their sofa with the mobile phone to book your services right now, get instant confirmation, that's more money that you're going to make. Even double down on that. With Workies, we give you a local phone number. Why? Because we want people to be able to text you. And we actually kind of decipher the text that you get to create a lead from it, which is more technical. But the idea is more ways to receive leads. People are looking for more ways that they can ask for a quote, ask for a price, book online, see if you're available, what are your prices, right from their phone. And this is a must, especially in the junk removal. I mean, we see the data. It is a lot of the traffic comes from online booking. We also have web forms. Some people just want to get a quote. Also a very good option. I just want to mention on building local relationships, which Lee touched on. Super important. I mean, I can't stress enough how many times I've given that advice to friends and people I've worked with. Obviously, advertising is important. You want to grow your business, you want to advertise, but long range, you want to keep those jobs coming at a low cost. Okay, so you got to shake hands. You got to create, local relationships, contracts. If you plan on selling your business someday, this adds to the value. Okay, if you have a contract or an existing relationship with somebody local, it increases the value of your business. So yeah, very good points.
Being present where it matters. One of the large mistakes that a lot of business owners make is they try and hit too wide of a swath, too large of an area. And having data like Workies can provide where it shows where you're getting the majority of your work, that tells you the areas you actually want to hit harder. So a lot of people think if you're looking at an area and you have 5 cities and one city has the most business, is maybe you shouldn't focus on that one city with the most business. Instead, you should focus on the suburb that's number 5. You actually want to take the area where you're getting the most work and you want to double down. So use the data as to where you're getting most of your work, and then define a small area. Maybe it's a 5-mile radius. You know what? You say, this 5-mile radius, well, this is my turf. This is Junk Buster's turf. And I'm going to have yard signs out. I'm going to have sticky notes out. I'm going to make sure people know they're in my neck of the woods, my neighborhood right here. And I'm going to own that area. And once you own that area, then you can kind of start expanding out a bit more. Why is that? Well, you've got a snowball building now. So now you've got a lot of work coming in from this one area. That growth, that income, those profits, that can fuel more people, more advertising in other areas. And before you know it, you've taken this 5-mile radius that was just yours. It was your initial just kind of turf, and you've expanded that out to this large metropolitan area that you really have a great portion of the market share in. So don't focus on too big of an area. Get a micro area and make that micro become macro.
Definitely, we did the same thing in our business. Starting from San Diego, expanding North County, Orange County, Riverside. Just keep replicating that formula that works really well.
Excellent. Good stuff. All right, reviews. We've talked about online. Reviews are obviously extremely important. You want to have great reviews. The best, number one place is GMB, Google My Business. You want a lot of great reviews there. The more reviews you have on your GMB, that goes a long way to getting your Google My Business in that map pack to rank well. There are about 2 other factors that are very important in that. But reviews, that is, if you don't have a good number of reviews, you're not going to show well in the map pack. Not, the majority of the time, unless you're in a very small area. So how do you go about and get great positive reviews, and a lot of them? Well, the first thing is you got to do work for quite a few clients. So you have to be pounding that pavement, doing that advertising, putting out those yard signs, doing those sticky notes, meeting those realtors and professional organizers and small remodelers and property management companies. You've got to be doing all of those things to get a lot of clients. The next thing you got to do is you actually have to do good work. So when you show up, you got to be professional. You got to show up on time. You got to communicate with clients. If you're going to be late, pick up the phone and call them. Most of the time, they are perfectly happy as long as they knew about it before. So you communicate well, you show up and you look professional. You do the job without damaging their home. You wrap up the job and you're on your way. And you make it as seamless and easy as possible. You answer the phone when they call. You book the job as easily as you possibly can. You do all those right things and you're going to get great reviews if you actually send a review request and ask for reviews. So if you're just doing a great job and you're expecting the client to follow up and leave a review, you're going to be extremely disappointed. For the first 3 years that we opened and operated Junk Doctors, I think it was about the first 2 to 3 years. I think after 2.5 years, we had maybe 11 Google reviews. And then all of a sudden, we started asking for reviews and sending links to the areas where people can leave reviews. And I think in the next year, we got about 200 reviews. I don't know how many we have now. It's probably 1,500, 1,400 between, a couple of different locations. So very, very, very important to actually ask for a review at the conclusion of the job. And this is something else that a lot of people don't think about. But if you have a customer that is upset, you want to solve that first you want to be aware of it, and two, you want to solve that while you're on the job site. So asking for a review at the end of the job is one of the best ways to find out, hey, is this customer actually happy? How do you do that? Well, you simply go up to them and you ask about sending the review request, and then you say, and hey, Sam, before you issue that review, uh, is there anything that we've done that would keep it from being a 5-star review? And you ask that question to them, and if they say yes, then you say, well, I want to solve it. Tell me what it is, and then you find a way to make that customer happy, so you get a 5-star review. So take care of that while on site. This goes hand in hand. Handle bad reviews to show that you care. Use this opportunity of a bad review. That's what I look at. Bad reviews are opportunities to go above and beyond, and you can really turn somebody in that was a detractor. They were not happy with your company. They were willing to badmouth your company online, and you can turn that into a fan, into somebody that is an advocate for your business because you go above and beyond on making this person happy. Handle bad reviews, and you'll be amazed at the positive effect it can have on your business. And Dan, talk a little bit about how Workies can help get reviews and kind of automate reviews.
Yeah. So what you've said is, right on. Reviews are such an important piece of any service business today, and if they get jobs or not, or do people even consider them? The beauty of it is 2022. Everything can be automated. So that means you're able to just define. You can do it obviously very easily in Workies, but almost any app today, you can just go in and say, okay, when a job is done, and customer tag is very happy customer, just shoot them an SMS. Hey Joe, we had terrific time servicing, cleaning up your garage today. Would you mind leaving us a review or letting us know how we did with a link? This works like a charm. We've seen businesses just counting the reviews coming in as soon as they enabled that option. So it is important, and the good news is it's way easier than you think, to just ramp up those reviews.
Very good. And the automation from Workies is great. You got to make sure your team members are actually asking for the review and asking, is there anything to keep you from leaving a 5-star review? And then give them the bandwidth and the ability to handle it while on site.
Definitely.
Don't consider price as an issue. AJS, average job sale, again, pretty much the most important number in running a profitable junk removal company and having the ability to scale. A guy by the name of Dan Kennedy, he's kind of a famous marketer, once said that the company that can afford to spend the most on advertising wins. And the only way you can win and spend the most on advertising is if you're bringing in enough money off of each job that there's enough nut remaining there to spread that out into additional advertising. And that's going to be the key to growing your company. So don't consider price as an issue. When you start a junk removal business, if you're like me, I went from, before we started junk removal, I did a little bit of racing. In North Carolina, you can probably hear my accents. We're kind of big around NASCAR around here. So I did a little bit of that. Basically, I kind of ran out of money because at the time I was also a manager at a roller skating rink. And I say I was a manager. I wasn't really a manager. I just worked there. I think the most money I made there was $12 an hour. Maybe it was $10.50. I can't even remember. So it was very, very, very little money, and ran out of money. Sold my trailer, sold the car. All I had left over was this pickup truck, and I even had listed it for sale. And had it actually sold, and somebody bought that, we probably wouldn't be doing this webinar right now. But nobody bought that truck. It sat there, and I decided, hey, I'd like to put this thing to use. So I got on Craigslist. I put up an ad on removing junk, and I think I charged, if I remember right, I had no trailer at that point. I'd sold it. I think it was $30 was what I charged for a pickup truck load. And the very first job I went off to was a job in a little suburb of Raleigh called Cary. It was about 10 minutes from where I live. So I hopped in my truck. I drove over there. Had no idea what the heck I was doing, but it was $30 per load, loaded everything up. I believe we hauled out 3 loads there. It was 4 loads. We hauled out 4 loads. It was $120. And I sat there and figured out, in 4 hours time frame, I brought in $120, which, when you've been making $10.50 or $12 an hour, whatever I was making was amazing money. And back then fuel prices were still pretty low. So you sit there and think, wow, I made great money. And wow, I can't believe somebody was willing to spend $120, because you might not have been used to making good money. But, and a lot of people, they sit there and they look at the big junk removal businesses out there. So around here, you've got your Junk Doctors that we own, Junk King, Got Junk. They sit there and they see what they charge and they say, you know what, my strategy, how I'm going to dominate the junk removal world is I'm going to go out there and I'm going to charge less than these guys. You quickly realize there's a reason companies charge what they charge. So you've got to be willing to set that price up there. You have to believe in your pricing, even though you might not at this point go out and spend $600 on a truckload of junk removal. You have to believe in the value that you're providing people, because time is one of the most important things you can provide to busy people. And nowadays, in this climate, in this world we live in right now, people are connected all the time. People talk about working from home being a blessing. I think a lot of times it isn't, because you're always connected. You have to always be connected in. So people are connected all the time. They're busy all the time. There's stuff going on all the time. They don't want to take the time to remove junk. They're making good money. They'd rather spend the money to remove the stuff. Now, 12 years later, 11 years later, since we started Junk Doctors, at this point, I would gladly, if we didn't own it, I would gladly pay $600 for somebody to come and remove my junk and me not have to worry with it. Because you get to the point, if you do this right, you're going to get to the point where you make enough money where the stuff that you thought was crazy before is something that's within your reach. So don't consider price an issue. Don't just lower your rates because your clients ask you to. Explain to them the benefits. Hey, Sam, I keep on picking on Sam here, but Sam, how long has this stuff been sitting here? And they'll say it's 5 years or 6 years or 6 months or whatever. And then, you come in and you say, well, right now in 30 minutes time, I can have this removed. We're here. This is, the rate we charge. I'm not quite leading on this exactly how you normally would, but basically you're going to come to them and you're going to say, we're right here. We're ready to load this up for you right now. We know we're price competitive with our other competitors. If you want it done right now, we'll go ahead and get it taken care of. And if for some reason we've overquoted this, then I'm going to walk back. You're going to come with me to the back of the truck. We're going to look back there and we're going to say, hey, this was quoted right, or hey, this was a little high, and we're going to knock that price down. And there's other ways of better approaching it, but you want to have responses ready to where you don't make price an issue, and you still try and get a full price load before you're willing to kind of come down on the price. So it mentions provide an estimate and upsell if you can. The way you can upsell is as you're loading stuff up, if you see items that you seem like might be junk that maybe the customer didn't see, is you bring it up to them. And you could do that halfway through the job or at the end of the job, or if the customer's walking around with you, you can actually do it as you're going around. But you sit there and just say, hey, I noticed that over there. I didn't know if you might want to get rid of that now. And one of the points you want to make clear to people is you're already on site now. And the more stuff you add, the lower the price per cubic yard. If you have to come back out and get that stuff later, it's going to be much more expensive. So we can save you money now by getting rid of that stuff. So kind of being on the lookout on different things that potentially could go. That's your upsell opportunity in junk. And enable multiple payment options online and on site. Dan, talk about what we mean by multiple payment options, both online and on site, if you would.
So yes, one of the things that everybody has heard of and seen in the last couple of years is buy now, pay later, which is extremely popular. You can get low monthly payments, no interest, sometimes little interest. So we worked hard to bring this to your own mobile device in Workies. That means you're going out there, you're quoting a job that, I don't know, it's $600, $700, maybe it's $2,000. Point taken is that, homeowner was not expecting that. And it's very easy for them to say, no, you know what, it's too much for me. You have now another financial tool when you're telling them, yes, it's only as low as for 4 months, no interest. We're actually coming up with a promotion with 4 payments, no interest. So this is essentially making it very easy for the homeowner to say yes. Now you guys carry zero liability, so you're getting paid no matter what. It's up to the actual lender. Those tools are actually allowing customers, allowing our users to sell more and more. That's in addition to the regular payment methods, accepting credit cards, having a client link that people can pay securely. You can just text it to them. But more and more payment options for the client means faster decisions and ending up in more revenue to you, which is the actual point here.
Excellent. Very good stuff. Okay, so Dan, I think we've kind of done a good overview of scaling your junk removal company. We've talked a little bit about how Workies can help. Workies is the presenting sponsor and so critical for us to be able to provide JunkCon 2022. First ever conference that's open to everybody in junk removal history. I promise you it's going to be great. We have we're in the Raleigh Convention Center, downtown Raleigh, North Carolina. We got 40,000 square feet of exhibit hall space. We've got tool vendors, truck vendors. Matt, help me out here. Insurance vendors, accounting companies. We got a franchise lawyer. We've got a company called Square Barrel that's going to be providing a really neat tool to remove items and junk. ADP on the payroll end of things. So there's, 10 or 12 different relevant insurance companies. I didn't mention that before. We've got a guy that's going to be presenting on insurance. Insurance is a major issue in junk removal right now. Rates are going up. The number of companies that cover you are going down. So Toby Stubbs with Wisdom Insurance Agency, he's going to be talking about, one, all the insurance you should have to protect yourself, to make sure you don't build up this great business and all of a sudden lose it because somebody gets killed in your business and all of a sudden you're faced with a $1 million lawsuit. So he's going to make sure you're covered, and he's going to tell you how you can get better rates and how the industry as a whole can get better rates through a safety program that we're going to be rolling out at JunkCon 2022. So it's all about education, motivation, and networking. 500 plus junk removal business owners are going to converge on Raleigh, North Carolina, making Raleigh, for those few days, the junk removal capital of the world. Workies is the presenting sponsor. You get $200 off all the way until 9 o'clock p.m. this evening. $200 off. So it's $295 for a ticket. You got to go to junkcon.com. There might be a link somewhere on here. We're going to send you a link, I guess, probably at the end of this also to take advantage of that deal. All right. Let's open it up to questions. If there's anybody on here that has any questions relevant to Workies or junk removal or anything else that you think we might be able to help you with, please ask. What you got, Neb?
So I've got one here. I'm looking for some clarification on it. But he says, will it ever be on demand so we don't have to offer it to every one of our customers? That's from Josh Carney.
Dan, Josh, can you?
So I believe Josh is talking about the buy now, pay later. So we initially wanted to do that, where you can decide where you're offering it and where not. The problem is, we're under strict regulation when it comes to loans. So you don't, like any loan officer, you don't get to choose who gets a loan or not. So, it's a regulatory thing that, if you turn it on, it is on.
Got to offer to everybody, I guess, around discrimination. So, yeah. Very good. Great question there, Josh.
Mm-hmm. All right. This one is from Vincent Prezioso, and it's, how would you recommend scheduling your guys? It's saying like a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. shift or split shifts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great question, Vincent. So, we mentioned before how important same and next day bookings are in junk removal. That can make scheduling a little difficult. What we like doing is we tell our guys that these are the days you're going to be working. The night prior, we're going to message you and let you know what time to come in. If we tell you you're going to come in at 8 o'clock, we're going to make sure you work at least 4 hours in a day. Now, in the slow season, that's can happen. In Busy season, we tell people, hey, if you're coming in, there's no telling how long you're going to work. Some days you might work 12 hours, maybe 15. Some days you might work that 4-hour time frame. So especially in busy season, they're able to get a lot of hours in a short period of time, which is great. But that's kind of how we schedule out. You can't really do just shifts of 7 to 7 because the jobs really don't line up that way. What you can do though is when you're scheduling jobs, try and schedule the middle job slots first. So your 10 to 12s and your 1 to 3, maybe your 3 to 5. And the reason you do that, if you schedule that 10 to 12 first, well, that means now in your next customer that comes into book, you can offer them either an 8 to 10 slot or a 1 to 3, and that'll ensure that you've got at least 2 jobs in a row. In between those jobs, if you get gaps or if you tell somebody to come in at 8, maybe the first job cancels, maybe they just do that one job and it's just a quick pickup, then that's when you do your traffic waves. That's when you put out your sticky notes. You should be putting out those sticky notes on the back of mailboxes after every job. And that's when you put out your yard sign. So that's when you're doing that marketing in those areas you really want to target. And from time to time, you will have somebody that's on call. And the way we generally, you might handle the on-call stuff is you tell somebody, hey, if you have to come in, if you're on call and you have to come in, we'll pay you time and a half. And that's a way of kind of rewarding them for basically just being ready on the go in case that phone rings. Great question there, Vincent.
Okie dokie. We've got one from Charles with Top Flight. He says, is the buy now, pay later feature effective in the junk removal industry?
Sorry, can you hear me?
The main areas that you're going to find that buy now, pay later is going to be something that you want to offer is going to be on maybe hoarding jobs or very large residential cleanouts where somebody's been in a home for 40 or 50 years and it's a $3,000, $5,000 job. The vast majority of jobs, no, it's not going to be something that is going to be all that commonplace. Dan, talk a little bit about also on the fees on the buy now, pay later. Is the business owner paying for any of the fees? Are they taking a portion of the job? Is the client paying the fee? Who's paying that?
So the merchant is actually paying 5%. The customer, on most cases, it's interest free, and it really depends on their credit and how many payments they select. It is effective from $300 and above. Okay, so that means $300 to $10,000. One of the most positive impacts that we saw that we were actually the first to offer this as an in-app payment option for lower end jobs. So it was very effective. We see it with locksmiths, with garage door guys, with junk removal. Sometimes people would tell you, no on a $500 pickup. And for you, it's very simple. You just tell them, okay, what if I'll send you a link, that you can get it in payments in like a few seconds. So it's actually a tool for you. I mean, there is a fee for that, but imagine that if you're getting one more job that people would refuse to a month, then you're actually making profit on it. So that's, it's a tool for you to, the way they describe it, making it easier for people to say yes.
So it's definitely not going to be as prominent as maybe your HVAC industry or some other higher ticket items, but there are areas where I guess it would be appropriate. And Dan, does the customer see the option for buy now, pay later all the time, or can the tech kind of skip over that, or how does that work? Because
so
I think we've tried
Yeah, so it depends. If you send it over with the client portal link with Workies, they always see that option. So that means they have credit card or pay as little as. But if you're in front of them collecting payments, you decide if you want to share that link or not. Okay, so that means you have the option to say, okay, sir, how are you paying? You can do a credit card, or you can say, would you like as low as, you see the as low as on the mobile app, and you can share it with them with a text message.
So as a junk removal business owner, you're always on site collecting money, so you can choose who you actually want to show that to. So if you don't want to present it to somebody, it's a $300 or $500 job, you don't necessarily have to. Now, listen, I could be completely breaking some law here, so I'll throw that disclaimer out. I'm sure I am by giving that advice, but in the real world, a lot of people would probably do it at your own risk. But that's a way that you can kind of just choose. If it's a $5,000 job, it looks like you're going to miss it, or maybe it's like, if it seems like you're going to miss out on a $500 job, hey, if that's worth that 5% to maybe try and save that customer, so you could ask them about payments at that point.
Yeah,
We
and
haven't
it's no
tried
risk
that
for
feature
you.
on our
So
own yet.
that means
We all think it's
you're not collecting the payments. Okay, you get paid no matter what. Our partner Sunbit is actually taking care of all the risk.
That's awesome. Very neat. Very, very amazing feature.
All right, we got some more. I got some amazing questions. So I've got one from Jeremy Holloway. He says, when putting out yard signs, how do you get around city ordinances other than putting them out on the weekend?
Yeah, this is in certain areas of the country. I know areas of Florida is really, really bad because you have a bunch of old people that have nothing better to do but make complaints. That sounds terrible, man. I tell you, I'm just, but that's the truth a lot of times. Florida, so not Florida, but in general, in most areas have sign ordinances. Some areas are more strict than others on putting out signs. As a general rule, if you put them in somebody's yard, when you're at a customer's home at the beginning of the job, you can just tell them, "Hey, I'm a small business owner. We're just trying to grow, or we're a small company and we're just trying to grow. Can I place this sign out uh, at your curb while we're working?" And at the very end of the job, you can ask them, "Is it okay if we actually leave the sign out there? And hey, when you're done with it, just pick it up, but don't throw it away. Save that sign, and next time you hire us, you can use that sign and you can get $30 off your next job or whatever by just showing it to us in the next job." And that's a way that they're not getting rid of those signs. Maybe the next time around, you can take that sign they already have and they can put it out in their in the yard again. So that's one way, is doing it in customers' homes, because at that point it's generally not city ordinances. Now maybe the HOA doesn't allow it, but as a normal rule, you can at least get a few days where you're out in front of a customer's home. The next thing when it comes to city ordinances, a lot of times you put those things out there. Occasionally you might get warnings and all like that, and if you ignore them, a lot of times nothing happens. If it does happen, you actually start getting fined. Then we've heard of people before. This is kind of extreme, but they would do exactly what you're talking about. They will put signs out on a Friday afternoon, and they would go back around and have people pick them back up Monday morning. It sounds very, very, very time consuming doing it that route, but yard signs are effective. And, in extreme circumstances, that might be what you do. I would just say a lot of times, though, put the signs out. If they send you an actual fine, if there becomes obvious that they're serious about it, then you might have to go kind of that other route. But if you haven't tried it and you haven't seen if they're actually going to send you a fine, leave the things out there and just kind of see what happens. I guess that's the rebel in me.
All right, we got another one from Andrew Workentine, not sure. When introducing a new crew to scheduling, how do you decide what days to put them in?
Well, you're just going to need to make sure you have coverage Monday through Saturday, or if you're open Sundays, Monday through Sunday, and you need to understand what their availability is. And then you just kind of look at what's their availability compared to what shifts do you have covered. We get especially during the summer, we get a decent amount of students, college students, uh, and they might stick around come fall, and they might kind of set their schedule where they are in class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so they're available Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. You just have to have kind of that listed out in a grid format and just kind of figure out where you can plug in who, when. We try and get guys, around 30 hours a week plus. During the summertime, it's not common. It's not uncommon to get 50 hours, sometimes 60 hours. You start having guys working 60 hours, even if they tell you they love it because they love the money, at some point they're going to get burnt out. This is hard work. We all know that getting out here, I think it's actually enjoyable work. When I was on the truck, I always enjoyed it for the most part. There are some jobs you didn't, but for the most part, you enjoyed it. But you start working 60, 70 hours a week on the truck in 90, 100-degree heat, 85-degree heat even, it's going to wear you down. So you got to regulate those hours. We try and keep people between about 30 hours and 50 at the most. We also want to keep them under 40 for overtime reasons. And we just try and always hire. So we're always putting out job ads. We're always interviewing, looking for great people. And if we find somebody that's really, really good, we're going to bring them on, even if we don't necessarily need them. Nowadays, you just have to always be interviewing, though, because the job market is so tight. It's just hard to find really, really good people. So you always have to be doing those interviews to actually be able to staff up.
All right, we got another one from Jeremy Holloway saying, I'm currently using Workies. Will you be able to add pictures of the text for the clients to see the name and the photo when sending out confirmation?
Dan, I'll let you take that one.
Yes, we are actually almost done developing our new customer portal that would allow a lot more options than that, such as seeing your upcoming appointments, rebooking, your invoices, and yes, who is coming over to the appointment. That's very important feedback that we've heard, and we're acting on it.
So say that one more time. So they're going to be able to put pictures on is it on a text
The
message?
idea is this is something that we heard from a lot of clients, that they're saying people want to see who's coming, just like you would see an Uber
Yes.
driver, where he
Mhm.
is, the picture to make sure, a stranger is coming to your house, basically. So
Yeah.
we are kind of reshaping our customer portal to have more of these options, like who's coming, when, how far are they. I'd like to message them, I'd like to reschedule. We're building an entire interface for your basic, management in front of the client. Basically making you manage your clients like Home Depot would manage a delivery to that level.
Excellent. That's great stuff. Before we started this call, Dan and I were sitting there talking about, should we talk about any new features that Workies is coming out? And Dan said, no, because if we tell all the customers out there the new features that are be coming out, they're going to be asking about us all the time. So I wanted to be on the record that I wasn't the one that asked you that. You just brought it up. So
Yeah.
don't blame me when people are asking about it all the time.
Definitely. We're always working. We're always cooking something in Workies. You can see from our release log. I mean, there's not a week that something new is not coming up to the platform. So
That's
keep
great.
those feedback coming. It helps us.
What else we got?
So we've got one from A&J's Removal Service, and I really like this one. In regards to the phone service add-on, can I port over a Vanity phone number?
Of course, you can. Yes, you can port in any number, any US-based number. We have a process for that. We pull it from the current provider that you have, and you still own it. It's just hosted in Workies.
Can you do 1-800 numbers or 1-866 toll-free numbers as well, Dan?
Anything. I mean, it's a law in United States. You can port your number from anywhere to anywhere.
Got it. Okay, excellent.
All right, got another one for Lee from Atlas McBride. What's the best way to target large clean-out jobs besides email campaigns for property managers?
Well, email campaigns are one of the best ways, actually. But a lot of times there's a local property managers association. There's also the local apartment association in your area. Joining that, participating in those events, and networking with those people are great. But email works. Email 100% works. If you build up a great email list through doing, you can buy property manager email list. You send them, 2-3 sentence emails, and just tell them about who you are and what you do. You'll be amazed at the response you get off of that. That's something we've done at Junk Doctors for years. And we've got probably 12 to 15 property managers that use us multiple times every month. And with the potential of a little bit of a downturn in the economy, and especially when you get also into slow season, that work just keeps on coming. Whereas some of your other traditional methods, which you still need to be doing, it can become a little bit more hit and miss. So it's very important to be making those connections. Short of that, if you find large property management companies that actually have an office presence, and what you're going to find is a lot of property management companies don't have necessarily an office that you can just show up at. But if you find one that does, show up, bring them some donuts or bagels or cupcakes or whatever, have a business card and all on it, introduce yourself. And that's another way of kind of getting out there and getting in front of people.
All right, I'm not sure how much you'd be able to say about this, but it says from Vincent, I should be getting my truck in about 2 weeks from you guys if all goes as planned. For when I order the second truck, what's the expected time to receive it with the market as it is?
It's a hard question to ask. Or answers. simply because of just availability of cabin chassis. It's just kind of out of our ballpark. He's talking about it over at junkremovaltrucksforsale.com. We build these junk removal trucks. And, right now we can build these, we can turn out these bodies pretty quick. So once a chassis shows up, we're moving pretty fast, and we're actually building bodies now and storing them because the chassis market is so just tight right now. I'm not positive. We were supposed to get a large orders of Chevrolet cabin chassis coming in over the course of this year. It sounds like I'm getting confirmation, but it sounds like General Motors has actually canceled that order. So I was thinking it was getting better. I'm not exactly sure it's getting any better at all in terms of availability of cabin chassis. So the answer to your question is, unfortunately, I just don't really know. We're telling a lot of people we would expect if you place an order now, like today, it's going to be at the earliest at the very end of this year or early next year before it would actually come in.
All right, I've got another one from Jeremy. Where would you advertise to get good hires?
We found Indeed is the best place at the moment. You weed through a lot of bad applicants, but that's where everybody appears to be going now. Craigslist is no good anymore. Facebook is generally not all that great. LinkedIn isn't appropriate for junk removal. So Indeed has been our main source of applicants.
All right.
Sorry. One thing I will add on Indeed, you can do the sponsor. You should sponsor, and it depends how desperate you are as to how much you spend. It might be $3 a day if you're not that desperate. It might be $20 a day if you are, and that's going to get you in front of more people.
All right, I've got this was another one about the Vanity number reporting. Could the Vanity number still receive text once ported over? We currently have the number ported to our mobile carrier.
Definitely, yes. Every number in Workies, well, I'll say 99% of numbers, they have texting capabilities. Sometimes the carrier will tell us that this number is not SMS capable. But it is very rare. Most numbers that you port over to Workies, if somebody will text them, they will come into your Workies inbox, and you can obviously reply from them.
Another thing that Workies does extremely well is that we didn't really talk about. We talked about tracking numbers, but we're speaking about the phone stuff now. You can create multiple phone numbers for different advertising methods. So, I mean, theoretically, you could put a different number on your yard sign and on your sticky note. And, if it's a Google Ads landing page or if it's an SEO landing page, and Workies has the capability of actually showing exactly where your work comes from, and you can really kind of judge your ROI. Now, in certain circumstances, there's some number swapping software that can also be used, depending on what type of advertising you have set up and how you want to track it. But Workies is very effective at getting data on what kind of ROI your advertising is returning, and that's a very, very important number to track.
All right, so I have got one from Andrew again. Does Workies have a feature that lets techs receive calls from clients who just missed our text call?
Yes. So we have something called call masking. Okay. Call masking means that the actual tech does not see the phone number of the customer. The only option for them to talk to the customer is through like a relay call. Now, within that, you have a smart callback option. You'll see a checkbox under the call masking of smart callback. So that means once the tech communicated with the customer, anytime that this customer calls back for any reason, they do not reach the office, they are routed back to the field tech immediately. Also, in addition to that, if a field tech is currently assigned to a job and that customer happens to be texting to the business and saying, hey, you know what, I got to step out, I got to reschedule, the field tech will get a push notification on their device as well.
Very good.
All right, and I've got one from Eric Christensen. Can you post before pics for text to see for Workies? So I guess like a before and after, the before part.
I don't know if he's talking about customer pictures or if he's talking about once the crew's set up on site. But the crews are able to take pictures both at the beginning of the job as well as the end, and they can upload those onto the job within Workies. And we do that is a thing we do after every single job. Our crews upload end of job pictures of the truck, and we compare the truck level of what was quoted to what it actually took up, and that gives us our quote accuracy percentage. And that's something that when we're comparing team leads, that's an item that we look at. And also it's another anti-theft prevention. You want to make sure what's quoted is actually what is being loaded up. Mm-hmm.
All right, and I've got from Lee Wright, tracking of fields tech is not accurate. Are there any settings for fine-tuning GPS?
Dan, did you get that one?
Yes, so we are at the mercy of the phone manufacturers. So that means Google and Apple are actively trying to discourage any app, if it's Uber, Facebook, or any other application from tracking user location. This is something we keep testing and trying to update. We are exploring also GPS trackers with other companies that we could integrate with ours, just to solve that issue. More to say about this in the future, look up for updates. But yes, this is something that Apple and Google are actively always trying to discourage the device from tracking location in the background.
If you decide to go the route of, or once you have multiple trucks, I'm very much a proponent of having camera systems on your vehicles, aimed out on the road as well as in the cab. And Geotab and SurfSight make an excellent camera system as well as GPS tracking. Geotab is very neat because each driver will have a key fob. They have to scan that key fob before they crank the vehicle up, and that's going to tell them that tells the system who the driver is. The cameras actually have artificial intelligence as well. So if the driver's going down the road and he picks up his phone and he starts texting, the camera is able to pick up on that. And it sends an alert to the driver, an audible alert, basically telling the driver, hey, pay attention. It also logs that event, and you're able to go back and look at it. And if you see this guy texting, obviously you're going to address that with him. So if he's distracted, if he's falling asleep, whatever, this thing picks up on it, it starts giving that alarm, and it logs that event. That's one. It's relatively inexpensive. You've got live view on your phone too, so you can tap in and look, and it's got that GPS tracker within it, and it's not all that expensive. Both equipment wise, it might be about $1,000, maybe $1,200 now with inflation to get the stuff installed, and then it's something like $50 to $70 a month per vehicle. We think it's well worth it. We have it on our vehicles.
All right, I've got from Junk 180, the majority of our cancellations seem to be tire kickers that book online and immediately cancel when the confirmation text goes out to them. These are driving our overall cancellation percentage up. I guess that's not really a question, but if there's anything that you'd like to say on that.
Yeah, so one thing I would add to that, James, is we track cancellations separately. We track our online, and I believe Workies allows for this, if I'm not mistaken. If you look at what is it? It's the report, which is something to do with taking calls. I can't remember what it's called, but you're going to have online bookings, and then you're going to have all your individual agents. So we track our online booking cancellation percentage, our off-site cancellation, so that's somebody calling in, and then our on-site, that's once the estimate's been given on site. We track all three of those in order to try and get an accurate measurement on how exactly that we're doing. The online booking numbers, there's very little you can do to control that. So we definitely want to pull that out so we're not blaming a contact center rep for handling something wrong or having a high cancellation rate, or the truck crews once they actually show up on site.
Okay, I've got one, another one from Junk 180. We have various job statuses created for different reasons for cancellation, but can I run a report that breaks out these independent canceled job statuses?
So
Dan,
you're
if you
able,
want-
yeah, you're able to go to your job report and generate a report based on sub statuses. There is no aggregated view that I'm aware of that actually breaks it down into like a pie chart that tells you, okay, this much percent is from that constellation. But that is excellent feedback. So you can see those reasons by filtering on the job report, but you cannot get like an aggregated number for them at the moment.
very good.
All right. Another one from Lee Wright. Is there a way for credit card payment from Workies, drive the whole and pay the fee? Otherwise, payments don't match invoices balances.
Are you following that, Dan?
So credit card payment from Workies to arrive the whole and paid. Okay, I got you. Yeah, we don't control that actually. So we work with a company called Stripe, which most applications work with, and the deposits come in as a bulk. We are working on reconciling that in QuickBooks. So that means we are currently working on a way to create bank deposits that would reconcile and tell you the expense fees. But right now, yes, the bank deposits do not match up, and this is just the way the merchant that we work with, our provider. That's the way they do it.
Very good.
From Eric Christensen, does Workies have a picture function so the techs can see the before pictures of the job so they know what it is and how much room in the truck they might need? I know they can post after pics, so I think that's clarification from before.
It seems like Dan, if I'm not mistaken, the customer can't upload those pictures onto their portal or anything. But if the contact center rep were to be emailed pictures or whatever, they would then in turn be able to upload them onto the customer's profile.
Yeah, so two scenarios we see a lot. So first of all, our booking widget has been updated in the past couple of months. It's been released to a beta group now. The new booking actually asks you at the last step, do you want to upload an image, which you can just do from your phone, which I'm assuming for junk removal businesses, it's a very good feature. So that means when you're putting like your name, email, you have like a big button there that says, hey, would you like to attach an image of the issue? That gets communicated to the job once converted. Also, if a client sends you text pictures or emails them, that gets tagged on to the job. What we see a lot, with customers, is that we created a new custom field of type image that you can actually make those required. Okay, so that means you can add a custom field that says, before, and a custom field that says after, and then you can make those required. So that means the dispatcher has to request that image from the customer, or where you're on the field, you have to take that image ahead of time, and you have to take that after in order to close the job. So we have tools to make that kind of sequence happen.
One thing, just some advice that I'll give is you want to make the booking process as simple as possible for your customers. So I would not require pictures. And if they want to send pictures, always try and get them to book the job first and then send the pictures afterwards. Go ahead and get them on your schedule. And then you can kind of take a look at pictures. And if they want some sort of an idea of an estimate, we try not to do that. But if they want some sort of an idea and you feel like you have to do that in order to be allowed to show up on site, then you want to do that after they're on the schedule.
Okay, I have from Lee Wright, is there a way to prevent online bookings from creating a new client? Right now, when online booking comes in, it creates a duplicate record. Is there a way to prevent this?
That's not supposed to happen. I would advise that you contact our customer support and just try to troubleshoot them with them. We have excellent support and technical account managers that can help you to to fix this issue. Because usually when we see an email or phone number that already exists, it's supposed to match that up and not create a new client. So definitely look. I can have somebody follow up with you on that. Just to make sure it's working correctly.
Very good. Guys, we're going to take this all the way until 4:30. So we've got another 5 minutes that are available for questions and answers.
All right. I've got from Frederick Tillerico. Hi, guys. Great webinar. Watching from Colorado. Any way to add a processing surcharge to CC fees in the works? Also, any ways to maybe run a daily tips report for each tech?
Okay, so we get that a lot. I am actually struggling with our lawyers right now to see that we can. So as you know, certain states forbid you from adding surcharges for credit cards. So we as the platform are somewhere liable if we allow that option. So we are like on a back and forth with our legal team right now to understand, because this is by far, one of the most requested features with our customers using Workies Pay. So yeah, still waiting on a kind of a legal loophole that allows us to do, what gas stations are doing all around the country, which is cash price. But yeah, more to come on that. And as far as the tips, you could go to the job report, click on fields, and sales report, click on fields and just, open up that tips column, and then you can look at the total, for each day or any date range that you want.
Will it track the tips for each individual team member?
Yes, you can filter. You can filter by team member. So we have like a lot of filters. So you can say, okay, last month, John, and then you have that field enabled, and you can see on top the total of tips collected.
Very good. Is that everything?
That's all we got.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. These are excellent questions, by the way.
Yeah, really, really, really good stuff. Excited to have everybody join us for this. Hopefully you found it valuable. Hopefully you've learned how have a basic understanding and gain some great tips on how to scale your junk removal business. We want to see each and every one of you. If you guys aren't going to JunkCon, matter of fact, in the comments section, it'd be great if you would let us know if you're going to be joining us at JunkCon or not already. We'd love to see you there. Workies is going to be there. We mentioned everybody else that's going to be there. A lot of great topics. If you found this webinar to be informative, JunkCon is going to be just about 100 times as good, with a lot more in-depth information. We are really putting a lot of effort into making this an amazing event. We've got a premier facility. We've got awesome speakers coming in, and we've got a team. There's a team of 3 people that probably spend way too much time trying to put on this event to make sure that it's amazing for everybody. It's very, very valuable. If anybody's been following JRA for any length of time, Workies for any length of time, if we approach something, we're going to do it right. However the P&L works out, hopefully it works out where we don't lose a bunch of money or we make a little bit, but number one, we want to do it right, and it's going to be right. So check us out, junkcon.com. There's a $200 off ticket available through 9 p.m. today. Make sure you get the kickoff party ticket though. Is it 99 or 97? 99. So $99. The kickoff party the night prior, hopefully Dan's going to be there. The kickoff night, the night prior, we've got like an 80s cover band that's coming in. We've got great food. It's at the hotel adjacent to the convention center. It is going to be a lot of fun. I will tell you, I still want you to buy the ticket. It costs us $103 per person to attend that event roughly, and we're only charging $99 just because I didn't want to go over 100. So that's how. The reason I mentioned that is the type of effort we're putting into this event to make sure it's a great show. It's very informative, and it's a great opportunity to be able to network with other junk removal companies. What we found last year, we did a little small event with just JRA clients. They came in town, and it's amazing the connections that were made just from the networking that took place at that event. Companies throughout the country were able to now bounce ideas off each other and ask each other questions, and that's so important on growing your business. And that's something that's been missing from the junk removal industry for a long time. Your franchises have that connection. Prior to that, you were going up against right off the bat, because they have the connection, they had an advantage. Now we're trying to level the playing field through JunkCon. So JunkCon.com, that's JunkCon 2022, presented by Workies, October 12th through 14th, 2022 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Look forward to seeing everybody there. Dan, you got any final comments?
No, I mean, it's been great. Great questions. Like always, we're always looking for ways to help and help people really make an impact in their business. If you have feedback, we're here for you. Me or any of the product managers and customer success are always happy to meet and get your actual feedback and how we can do better for your business.
Awesome, everybody. Well, thank you for watching. You'll get a recording of this event sometime later today or tomorrow. And always feel free to reach out to us as well if you have any questions about JRA-related services, JunkCon, whatever. Looking forward to seeing you grow your business. Hope you found this helpful. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.